Welcome to Everyday Ethics, everybody. I am your host, Michael Liebowitz, and I'm all by my lonesome today, as you can certainly see. And hopefully, we'll have a good conversation today. I'll do my very best. And remember, we love the super chats, super stickers, and there's a great episode out right now of The Rational Egoist, all about integrity with James Stevens Valiant. I highly, highly recommend it to anybody that's interested in the topic of ethics or the topic of integrity. So I think I'm going to start with integrity. And of course, you're free to ask any questions that you'd like. We were going to continue the conversation about sex and romance, but given that Persephone's not here and she kind of spearheaded the thing, I think we'll wait till she gets back. I think she's going to be gone all week. Hi, Nicole Hingle. Nice to see you. So anyways, I was thinking about integrity because of something that has been occurring lately. The integrity, not just in behavior, but the integrity of our own minds. And when we are learning and trying to learn and looking for things, it's imperative that we understand, hey, Jim, how to assess evidence, that we continue looking for evidence always before we accept conclusions. We don't want to jump to conclusions. We don't want to accept things prematurely as true when they aren't true. And so it's always good to get into the habit of sort of fact-checking ourselves, fact-checking others. So don't just, there's a saying, take no man's word for it. And I think that we need to apply that to our everyday lives. I mean, it's just a good habit to get into, especially in important matters. I mean, I think it's important, all the time, but it's even more vital. I mean, obviously, if you're looking to go somewhere, don't just take off down the road when it's a far trip. Find directions. Find out where you want to go. You can find out how to get there, the quickest route, the safest route, that sort of thing. And it's sort of let me switch this up. It always switches back on me. So yeah, I'm curious to know what people think about that, about having integrity in our own thinking, in our own approach to life. We want to have integration in our minds. We don't want to be accepting contradictions. We don't want to be accepting false beliefs. We want to always push forward to know more, to learn more, to be better. I was talking to a little girl yesterday, my girlfriend's niece, and she did something where she got in trouble. She's only 6 years old, and she pulled her sister down on the slide, and she got in trouble, and she was scared. She didn't want to get in trouble at home, and she says, "Oh, I don't want to be told on. I'm scared." And I had a conversation with her, and I told her, "Listen," I said, "we all do wrong at times. That's okay." I said, "The important thing is to admit that you're wrong, take responsibility, and accept the punishment, whatever it might be, if there indeed is a punishment, because that's how we learn." And, I got into a whole thing on Facebook the other day with a guy who questioned my character. And so I questioned his back. And my point here isn't, how do I say this? I didn't need to get down into the mud with the guy. I didn't need to do that. I would have been better off just walking away. I could have said, listen, present evidence for your case. If you are he was saying that he was accusing me of supporting Iran in its war with the United States. And I said, I should have just said, I did say provide evidence for your claim, but I should have just left it at that instead of attacking his character in return. But we get caught up in things sometimes. I don't want to make it sound like we get caught up like as if it's beyond our own volition. But, nevertheless, we certainly all seem to do this at times. I've never known anybody that didn't, err at times. We're certainly not infallible. But here comes, we've talked about this before, where having friends that we can talk to are very helpful. I talked to Jim about it, and Jim basically told me you just walk away from that stuff. And I thought about it. I said, you know what, he's right. Like, what did I need to get into it? What was the benefit to me? Because remember, the ethics that we're talking, the ethics that we're promoting, is all about self-interest. It's what is in my best interest, and it simply wasn't in my interest to get involved in that, not in terms of the time spent on it, not in terms of the type of discussion it was. It just was not a good thing for me to be doing. So I'm curious what everybody thinks about that. Curious to know what you think about the errors that you make in your life, how you overcome them, how you deal with them. That's a very, very important, in my view, in just growing and just being a better person. It's important to learn from mistakes, not beat ourselves up unnecessarily about them. I mean, we all do it. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on it? What's your thoughts on the conversation from the other day? I'm certainly here. She's on vacation, Subby. But thanks for the question. That's a good one. I'm looking for questions about the topic at hand, not the questions about where the co-host happens to be. So if you have questions or comments about how to deal when we make errors, when we make mistakes, I'm more than welcome to them, and I'll be very welcoming and it'll be very helpful to me, given that I am on my own without Persephone, to sort of, continue the conversation. I've had one of these days today where I feel very rushed. I could not get to sleep last night for the life of me. And then I finally was able to get to bed at about 11. Then I woke up at 4, so it was only 5 hours sleep. And I did a lot of work between 4 and 7. I got all my articles read, and then I got them. I sent them to Mark. I sent them to Persephone. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if today was the day Persephone was going to be there. And then I went back to bed, so I lost 2 hours there. But I guess it's not really lost because I woke up earlier than I usually do. And I got up at 9. And then, around 10:30, Mark notified me he wouldn't be on the Capitalist Corner. And I knew Persephone wasn't going to be there. So I asked Jim Valiant, will you come on? And Jim agreed. And so I sent him the barrage of articles for the topics at hand. And then in the meantime, another topic came up. And so I had to improvise on the fly. And then I had my other stuff to do. And I just have this very rushed feeling, like pressure. And I do that to myself, kind of, where I make myself think like I've got to get all this done right away. I feel like the world's going to come to an end. If I didn't put on the great show at 12, everything was going to come to an end. And of course, that's not true. I have that habit of magnifying things, making them more important than what they were. And I'm not saying it's not important to put on a good show. I think it's very, very important. But if it weren't, if on my own I came up short, or I didn't get to every topic, or if the dogs are barking in the background because Subby just gets them all wound up, whatever it might be, I can improvise and I can go just press forward. So Jim came on the show, and I had him read all the stuff, and then I threw a curveball because another topic interested me. And I thought, hey, Danny, I thought ultimately it was a pretty good show, and everything went fine. And it just reminds me that I don't need to put this pressure on myself, right? Like my boss just told me, well, he said he sent me 2 reports. He said that, it's hopefully we can get them done today, but if we can't, it's all right. So I got one of them done. The other one's going to take a little bit longer, but I should get it in, but I don't need to feel rushed. This is over at 3. I've got till 4:30 to get the report in. I can do it, and then I can do my shopping, and everything's going to turn out right. And it reminds me when I was incarcerated and I was doing my thought reports, and I've probably spoke about this before on this show. I've certainly spoke about it elsewhere. And remember, the super chats and super stickers are always very, very welcome. And I was writing down my thinking and the thinking errors that I make. And the big thinking error that I made is what I just said: magnification, making mountains out of molehills, making things more important than what they are. And the other one was that these things just don't actually occur most of the time. When I went back over my thought reports, most of the things that I worried about never happened. And I put a lot of pressure on myself during those times, and I was very panicky. And nothing came of the things, and nothing would have come of it if today's show was a disaster, and nothing would have come of it if this today if I couldn't do this show. So, and again, it's not to say that I wouldn't be disappointed, and it's okay if the show isn't good, but I don't need to exacerbate things by worrying about them, by putting pressure on myself, by stressing out, and neither do you. And yes, Danny, we will be having coffee if I didn't already confirm it. I certainly did in my own head. So Nicole says, Nicole Hingle, it was a great show. Thank you so much. She says, we don't become better by avoiding consequences. We become better by owning them. I agree. 100%. Jim Valiant says, we get better by realizing and facing the consequences ASAP. Yes, indeed, we do, Jim. That is spot on. You know, having a friend like Jim Valiant, having friends like, my buddy Danny there, it's great. It really helps me to be better. To just keep going, keep striving, keep moving forward. I say that a lot, to keep moving forward, because what is the alternative? To grow stagnant, to not grow, to not learn, to not become better? That doesn't work for me. Like Hulk Hogan, if anybody familiar with wrestling knows, when they want him to do something he doesn't want to do, that doesn't work for me, brother. So, So what else we got? Do we have any questions from the audience? Please give me something. Help me out here, folks. You just got to. I mean, I've been talking nonstop for 10 minutes. So when Jim and I, we did our episode on integrity. By the way, Jim and I are doing a great series on using this book right here for self-improvement. Yeah, Subby is only good for getting the dogs going. I just picked the two friends that I saw on the screen, so they're in my chat. Subby is, of course, a great friend, and evidently a more needy friend than I thought, because he needed the attaboy. It's interesting. In prison, whenever somebody cooks, like they put together the food and they pass it around, they all inevitably come around for the attaboy. They come around and they could knock on your window. Hey, how is that? Because they want you to tell them it's so good. It's so good. Bye, Nicole. Not that Subby really needs the attaboy. I'm just kind of teasing him. But in prison, they had that. And it's like there's nothing wrong, with wanting confirmation that you've done something good. But there's something to me that just when you're begging for it, how many people, what it reminds me of, how many people, for instance, recently Donald Trump says he likes to be around losers. He likes to be around people who aren't as successful as him, who aren't as smart as he is. Because when people are smarter or more successful, he says they want to talk about themselves, but he wants to be the one to talk about himself. That is such a terrible way to go through life, to look at life. I want to be around people that are smarter. I want to be around people that I can learn from, that I can admire, that I can grow from. This guy his self-esteem is so poor that he needs constant, affirmation, people with whom to compare himself. It's so gross. So gross. Subby, at about 3:30, I'm going to go out to the store. If you want to come with me, that'd be great. Of course, you'll drive because my car is terrible. My buddy Danny recently fixed my starter for me. Not that anybody cares, but what the hell? I can talk about it. It's my show and my car. Fixed the starter. The car is running great. It's very, very good to have a working vehicle. I'm going to go out. I'm going to get some cereal, things of that nature. So yeah, when it comes to, I want to kind of tie all this stuff together, right? Because I started off talking about getting evidence for your beliefs, and I tied that to having intellectual integrity, where your views don't conflict with each other, where they're based on the evidence. We talked a little bit about sort of, what to do when you make mistakes, when you err, to learn from them, to keep going. Talked about not putting pressure on yourself, being realistic about that. We talked about not, just wanting to hang around with losers. And when you tie all this together, right, when you develop in yourself, first of all, the habit of being somebody that seeks out information, that wants to verify facts, before accepting them into his belief system, when you want to be the type of woman that doesn't allow contradictions to exist in your own mind. When you make all your experiences something, especially the mistakes, something that you can learn from. You know, when you strive to be around better people, smarter people, people from whom you can learn, this builds self esteem, builds confidence, builds a sense of efficacy. I don't know how many of you know about the manager in wrestling, Paul Heyman, but I saw something recently where he says that he doesn't learn from successes. He's learned from his failures. And I remember Kobe Bryant once saying that there's no such thing as failure because it's just something that you learn from. You just learn and you become better and you move forward. And I hope that's what everybody here can do. I hope that I can help you to do that. I hope you can help me to do that as well. That would be very appreciated, as Danny says. So, what else, folks? Does anybody have anything? Any questions to add? Any insights? Any super chats or super stickers? That would be wonderful if you could pass them my way. Any ethical dilemmas that anybody is working on or working with or facing? I read an article once, so I didn't read it once. I've read it probably, I don't know, who knows how many times, by Nathaniel Branden, where he discusses the fact that acting in your own interest entails knowing what's in your own interest. So I just wonder, how much time do you guys actually spend in trying to figure out what is actually best for you? What foods are best for you? What types of physical activity are best for you? What types of television shows are best for you to be watching? What's best for you in terms of how you spend the majority of your time? These are questions that we all should be asking all the time. We need to know what is best for us so that we can act on it. We also need to, recognize our own wants, our own needs. Oh, look at this. Daniel Suska, $2. He wants to know what kind of cereal I get. I get the Koshi protein cereal. I do that because I was told that I need to have more protein in my diet, especially in the morning. And also the Koshi protein cereal has a lot of fiber in it, which is good for me, especially, at my age. So that's what I get there. I eat peanut butter a lot for lunch. That's also high in protein, high in good fats. I do need to work on my own diet. Okay. So Mr. Deagle has a question. He says that according to Mike Andreessen, introspection is a modern scam. Mark Andreessen's dumb. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I know if he thinks introspection's a scam, then he's just clueless. I don't know. Maybe that's because he hasn't done any. He wants to know, Mr. Deagle, how those thoughts reports work. They work very well. So how I would used to do them, and I haven't done them in a very long time. I maybe could benefit from doing them now. Is I would say, so you pay attention to your behavior during a day, and then you think about a situation or something where it stressed you out, or a situation that you're dealing with that's causing you stress, anxiety, or depression. You identify the situation, and then you ask yourself, what are my thoughts in relation to this situation? And you also, while you're doing that, so you put your thoughts down, and then you can look at what they call the cognitive distortions, magnification, minimizing, magnification, personalization, mind reading, wishful thinking, fortune telling. There's a whole bunch of them. I don't remember them all off the top of my head. And you see, well, which ones of these am I actually engaging in? And you can actually ask yourself, well, how is this thinking impacting the way that I feel? Which thoughts are leading to which emotions? Or maybe it's, a lot of different situations that are causing that. And you can also use the downward arrow technique where you say, okay, this got me mad. I was mad because Daniel disliked me for the purchase. Okay, why? Because I don't like when people dislike me. Why? And you just keep going down until you get to the core. of what is actually at issue, what is actually bothering you. And the more you do that, the more familiar you become with your own thinking patterns. How am I thinking that's leading to the emotions that I'm having on a daily basis? For me, I saw that magnification was huge. I was blowing things way, way out of proportion. And understanding that I was blowing things out of proportion helps me to not do it, because when I start doing it again, I tell myself, this is the magnification that I used to do, and now I'm doing it again. So very, very good. Now, as far as this Mark Andreessen saying introspection is a modern scam, I don't know how you learn about yourself without introspection. I don't know how you learn about your dysfunctional thinking. I don't know how you learn about your own epistemology, about your own needs and wants, if you're not doing introspection. So I would like more context, Mr. Deagle. If you want to send me something, about him, did he write an article? Did he write an essay or something about it? Because if so, I'd really, really like to hear the argument. It seems very, very silly to me, to be perfectly honest with you. So what else you got? Any other questions besides what kind of cereal? But I mean, you gave $1.99. You give me $1.99, I'll tell you about my whole diet, my eating practices, whatever you want to know. Wow, I just looked up. It's 70 degrees. Spring, as they say, is here. I don't know who says it, but I just did. All right, look, I'm going to wrap this up a little early if nobody's got anything to say or nobody's got any questions. I really want to have an interactive audience. I want you guys to come with questions, come with suggestions, that sort of thing. So try to think of, for tomorrow, what questions you'd want to ask, what things you would like to say, you can maybe challenge me on something if you want. I don't want to get too deep into, ethical theory, but, about concrete situations, that would be fantastic. But I'm going to going once, going twice. All right, guys, I'm going to bounce out of here a little bit early today. It'll help me get things done anyway, so maybe it's a good thing. All right, listen, thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for your feedback. And I will see you tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Oh, look at that. Kathy Cassio, $1.99 super sticker. Oh, there it is. Kathy Cassio, $1.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. Mr. Deagle says another importance of integrity is that it minimizes the potential magnitude of your mistakes. For instance, in the past, you could have easily committed murder, while today your biggest mistake is being late or having a bad show. I don't know how easily I could have committed murder, Mr. Deagle, but I do get your point. Yeah, when you're behaving ethically, when you're doing the right thing on a daily basis, so thank you, everybody. I will be here tomorrow. Appreciate all of you. Till tomorrow, please be ethical. Thanks.